the good things, even the challenges that make us draw closer to Thee. We pray, Father in heaven, and ask that Thou may grant us Thy. I have to go on for the introductions, and so I have done that. I'm going to go to the opening remarks, and it's obvious for us in the TUC, one leader is the chairperson of the TUC. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand the mic over to the chairman of the great TUC, Brother Alex Nyaku. Please help me, let's put our hands together for this. So,
thank you very much. And on behalf of the Executive Committee and the TUC, I want to warmly welcome fellow colleagues and comrades, to the music committee, to the whole of TUC. I have always said that if political parties will link up with Labour, there wouldn't be anything like Labour going on fire. Because once we understand ourselves, and then we judge all, because the country is for all of us, and nobody will want to see the country into any sort of chaos. Once that understanding is there, we can rest assured that we can have that peaceful environment where strife will be thing of the past. And I think this is the beginning of what we want to expect. And so, without wasting my time, I want to welcome you. I know we're going to have very fruitful discussions, and at the end of the day, it is going to be for the betterment of our country, Ghana. Thank you all very much. And so, we want to ask Secretary General Dr. Yabam to give us the welcome address.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning. Brother Chairman, Your Excellency, Comrade Dramani Mahama, the General Secretary of NDC, my brother BPKT, and all protocols. First, I would like to join the chairman to welcome you all to the Hall of Trade Unions on this very, very, very special occasion. I offer special welcome to His Excellency Comrade Dramani Mahama, the former President of the Republic of Ghana and the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress. Actually, I nearly said National Development Congress. That is better. Now this work, is it up to you? So I think it's a National Development Congress. I also want to offer special welcome to the chairman of NDC. I hear Comrade General Mosquito Asim Ketia is also on his way. And we offer special welcome to all the leaders. I see Prof. Anna here with us. We would like to use this opportunity to congratulate first Comrade Dramani Mahama and Comrade General Mosquito and all the national officers of NDC on your election to these very important offices. We are very happy to have all of you here with us. To us, it is a sign that NDC and TUC are ready to work together toward the development of our country, Ghana. I would also like to welcome the resident director of FES. Where is Johan? Johan, you are welcome. We also have with us our brother Ebu and Michael. Where is Michael? Yes. Brother Ebu, Brother Ima, and of course, their director, we welcome you especially because you have been supporting us in these activities to bring together these two important organizations, TUC and NDC. We have been talking about this, Johan, you remember? We have been talking about strengthening the relationship between the three organizations. FES is a social democratic organization. NDC is a social democratic organization. And of course, TUC is also a social democratic organization. So we have a lot in common. I remember when Comrade Dramani Mahama came to our General Council, I think it was 2020 or so, when he said TUC and NDC are natural allies. Yes, yes. Today, all the three organizations, FES, NDC, and TUC, we are here together. And that is very beautiful. It is the beginning of great things to come. Because, you know, we share the same values and principles as far as governance and human development are concerned. We all believe in support for vulnerable people in society because we recognize that all fingers, as we say in Ghana, all fingers are not the same. Some fingers are bigger and longer than others, but that doesn't make them more important because they have to work together to give us the dexterity we have. We also believe, the three organizations all believe in social and economic justice. We believe in solidarity. We believe in unity. And we believe in cooperation and fairness. Again, let me thank some of the comrades who have made this important meeting possible. And I would like to first single out my comrade Ambassador Samyale. He's here with us. Our comrade Sylvester Mensah. Comrade Prosper Huetu. We worked together in planning this meeting, and I think they deserve some appreciation. Let me also here thank my deputy, the Deputy Secretary General of TUC, Brother Joshua Ansa. Joshua, where are you? Hey. Once I say, Joshua, we have a meeting with NDC, make sure it happens. It happens. You know, and we also thank the researchers who have really been helpful in preparing our manifesto, and other members of staff who work tirelessly. Sulu, Echampong, they are all here with us to ensure that this important meeting takes place successfully. I thank members of the Social and Economic Affairs Committee and the Political Affairs Committee of TUC for their efforts in shaping the Workers' Manifesto. We had an opportunity, the Social, Economic Affairs and Political Affairs Committee had an opportunity to meet the NDC lab led by Prof. Danso Boafo and also Professor Nana. We had very good discussion, and this is the outcome of some of the decisions we made at that meeting. And I would like to thank them for the ideas that they share with us. Finally, I would like to welcome our very special guests. And here I want to mention Sister Alice Gonwe Siame. Sister Alice, please, let's see you. You can see from her Choboi that she is indeed a special guest. We also have with us Sister Aina Esrenk from Norway. Sister Alice and Sister Aina, we have partnership meeting with them, so we invited them to this very, very special occasion. Those of you who know about Norway, you know they are also social democratic country. Now, let me shift our attention a bit to the purpose of this meeting. And the purpose is very simple and straightforward. First of all, in the presence of our comrade, Dramani Mahama, we want to launch our Workers' Manifesto in addition to the opportunity to interact with him. He was just telling me that what he's holding is his vision, and he's going to share with us. And I think that interaction is going to be useful. So I was telling Comrade Mahama that we are going to give you enough time to share with us your. So, comrades, in a few moments, after this session, I will present the highlights of our manifesto, and then after that, we will symbolically present a special signed copy of our manifesto to him. And I can assure you that this whole wide world, including people in this room, the first person who will see our manifesto is Comrade Dramani Mahama. And I'm very sure about that. After we have presented that special copy to him, we will then give him the floor to share his vision for Ghana with us. And I think this is a very special day for us too, because we may be among the first to know what he's going to do if he's elected as a president of Ghana. Once again, we are very eager. Oh, when? Thank you. We are very eager to know from him what he's going to do differently when he is elected the President of the Republic for the second time. We are also very interested in his views on the constitutional reforms, which we are advocating, and then the disparities between salaries on single spine and Article 71 office holders. We are also very interested, and we are eager to know a lot more about his great idea of a 24-hour economy. I think this one, Comrade, you have to take your time. Because I can imagine the amount of jobs that this kind of thing will create. That could be the game changer. I'm telling you that you have opportunity in this country. We work 24 hours, 3 shifts. So if you don't get a job in the morning, you can get it in the afternoon or in the night. So where are the young people? Get ready for jobs. I think, and I mean it, I think this is a great idea that was lying somewhere and we never discovered. And we will be eager to hear a lot more about it. Of course, there are other areas that we hope he will touch on, either today or in future, especially our relationship with ECOWAS countries, our relationship with African Union, Africa in general, our relationship with the European Union, our neighbors on the other side of the Mediterranean, of course our relationship with China, our relationship with Cuba, and other progressive countries. We are also very interested in his views on Ghana's preparedness for disasters, especially what is happening to our compatriots in Volta and parts of Eastern region. And lastly, we will be happy to hear more about our preparedness, Ghana, for dealing with or in operating in the Industry 4.0 environment, where artificial intelligence is going to be the norm. These are, things that are going to happen in the future. It's a long list, but I'm sure he'll do it. Comrades, we developed this manifesto to provide a basis for our engagement with political parties especially, and also with government. We are starting that engagement here today with our comrade Dramani Mahama. We have also invited the flag bearer of MPP, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to interact with us on the 5th of December 2023. We wrote to him yesterday. I'm sure our letter may be the first one he got when he was elected. And we want him to know that we really will not be idle. We want to be very active in the way this country is governed. At that meeting, just as we will do today, we will present a signed copy, a signed special copy, so we have made 2 of that, of the manifesto to him, because we have to be fair to the Danaskans and also to the Tamaskans. The TUC is non-partisan, as you all know, but that doesn't mean that we are not political. We are ready to work with all progressive leaders, of course, like our comrade Dramani Mahama, whether they belong to NDC or they belong to MPP or they belong to any party. We are doing so in the supreme interest of our dear country, Ghana. Once again, I would like to welcome all of you to this very, very special historic engagement with NDC. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brother SG. Shall we give to him once again? And like I said, if the political parties were aligned with the unions, there will be no chaos in the country. And so that is the beginning. This is the beginning. All right. Shall we invite Brother Ebu Mensah from FES?
Joboy. Joboy. Good morning, comrades. First of all, permit me to stand on the protocols established by Dr. Yaoba. I bring you warm greetings from the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, FES for short. The FES is a political foundation with offices in about 100 countries globally, and with 20 of such offices located in sub-Saharan Africa, including Ghana. Our work is guided by our core ideals and values of social democracy, that is freedom, social justice, and solidarity. The TUC and the NDC are special partners of the FES as a result of our history and mission. Trade unions promote, protect, and defend human and workers' rights. This includes, but not limited to, the right to organize and collective bargaining, decent work for all, fair wages, fair trade agreements, and the respect for human rights in supply chains. The freedom to organize is a fundamental precondition for the attainment of social democracy. And in the absence of the freedom to organize at the workplace, there is no social dialogue. Therefore, without trade unions, there is no social democracy. Today's meeting is quite historic for the FES. This is the first of its kind within our working relationship with the TUC and the NDC. It is our wish that our engagement today leads to an improvement in the lives of workers and in building the Ghana that we all want. As a social democratic organization, it is our fervent hope that this relationship will be sustained for the advancement of our mutually shared ideals and values. Long live the TUC. Long live worker solidarity. Long live the NDC. Long live social democracy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Ebu. All right, our next one has to be the national chairman of the NDC, Brother Asiedu. He's not here at the moment, so we will skip. And then the Secretary General, Dr. Yaban, you do the presentation of the Workers' Manifesto.
Oh boy! We gonna roll, we gonna roll, roll, we gonna roll. We gonna roll, we gonna roll, we gonna roll, we gonna roll, we gonna roll the union on. We gonna roll, 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 we gonna roll the union on. We gonna roll, we gonna roll, we gonna roll, we gonna roll, we gonna roll the union on. Thank you very much. We gonna roll it over them. We gonna roll it over them. We gonna roll it over them when the bus is on the way. We gonna roll it over them. Roll the union on. Yes, yes, yeah. I signaled the deputy to leave it at the short version. And then we have somebody here. I hope this mic is working. Okay, comrades. I'm going to use the next couple of minutes to give you some highlights of the Workers' Manifesto. This is all part of the launch. And then, after that, the chairman of TUC will join me, and then we will present the special copy to our Comrade Mahama, and then we will give him the floor to share with us his vision. And then we are hoping that after that, we will do some interaction in the form of discussions, ideas, questions. So let me start. First, this is the first time that TUC, as the MC said, has decided to come up with our old manifesto. This is our vision for Ghana, and we are calling it Workers' Manifesto. We believe that we are talking on behalf of all workers of Ghana. And as a saying goes, the voice of the people is the voice of God. And we expect our political leaders to listen to the voice of God. So I have the privilege and the honor to present the highlights of the Workers' Manifesto to you, especially to the flag bearer of NDC, one of the greatest parties in our country today. The original plan was to show PowerPoint, but we wouldn't have that much time. So I'll just quickly touch on the key areas. Already, what I've mentioned is already a full plate. But we will now go on to share with you our vision for this country. The manifesto is captured under 5 main areas. 5. Number 1 is social policy. And under that, we focus on human development, which is something we have neglected, for a long, long time. We want to bring attention back to human development as the core of our development. Then section number 2, economic policy. As you can imagine, we spend a lot of time discussing and debating the issues under economic policy. And now I'll give you a taste of what we have for this country. Section 3 deals with the labor market. And when I get there, there are subheadings that we think we need to engage. Section 4, one important sector that we need to pay attention to. Section 4, energy and power. Because that must provide the raw material for development, especially industrial development, job creation, and so on. And then the 5th one, some of my comrades were thinking we should rather bring that first. It has to do with governance. But this has not been arranged in any particular order. Once it's in the manifesto, they are equally important. And then I'll conclude. So, you find in the introduction of the manifesto that the TUC envisions a society for Ghana where every citizen is recognized and every citizen has his or her rights respected by all, including by people in government. We want a society where collectively we live and work together. And I want to emphasize to work together in unity to create opportunities that allow each person to enjoy decent and fulfilling lives by contributing meaningfully to their own development as humans and also to the development of the country. As you can see, TUC, we are not only interested in the outcome of development, growth, and whatever they call it, but we are also interested in the process of development, because we believe that that is how individuals can fully express their potentials. So the Workers' Manifesto provides, as I said in the introductory remarks, it provides the basis for our engagement with political parties and governments, and of course also with civil society organizations, like-minded organizations who want to work with us. We hope that it can help shape and transform the political discourse away from the personality attacks and other trivialities. And then we can now focus on substantive issues instead of personality attacks. So this is our introduction. It's longer than this, but I'll cut it short. Now I'll move to section number 1. The first policy area in our manifesto is about social policy. And here we are focusing on human development. So I'll just highlight a number of key areas that we are ready to engage on. And I want to emphasize that the manifesto is not prescriptive. It is not giving, this is what the solution is. We don't have that. We believe that all of us must come together and discuss the future of this country. No one person has the solution. Our problems are so complex that the solution you prescribe today may be outdated tomorrow. So the dialogue must be constant. And here I want to really thank our comrades from Norway who have been supporting our work in social dialogue. And this is what we believe in. We believe in social partnership, we believe in social dialogue. And it must be constant. So I want to emphasize that we are not prescribing straightforward solutions to our problems. We don't have that. What we have is that we can engage. And this manifesto is the basis from our side for the engagement. So let me quickly go through a number of areas under human development that we want to have discussions or dialogue on. First, food security. We cannot believe that this country is still food insecure. We have to eat well. I mean, that is the basic thing. At the end of the day, we will die. But whilst we are alive, we should eat well. Everybody, every Ghanaian must eat well. I mean, when you get up and you are moving, you know you are okay. But that is not the situation. I can't believe it. When I started reading about this food, nutrition, and so on, that Ghanaians cannot eat well. So all the rest for me is residual. The thing is food. Then affordable housing. We should sleep well. Even children, if they don't sleep well, they don't grow to the height that God gave them. It's true. Then sanitation. I was shocked that only 25% of Ghanaians have access to adequate sanitation. I don't want to say many things about sanitation. They are disgraceful. Then access to water. These 4 areas are so basic that I wonder why after 66 years of Ghana's independence we are still talking about these kind of things. It means we have missed our way and we have to go back. Then I move on. The others. One is education and training. Those of you who have lived in economically advanced countries, you know that it's so peaceful when you live in countries where everybody has been well educated. Life is different. Therefore, education is key. Then access to affordable healthcare service. And here I want to emphasize mental health. We seem not to care about our brothers and sisters, our compatriots who are suffering from mental derangement. And I think we have to pay some attention there. Then we need to, and this one we have no excuse, we have to avoid maternal and infant mobility and mortality. We have to eradicate malaria. Malaria has been here for too long. We have to improve safety on our roads. This year alone, I don't know how many thousands of people have died. Our roads are worse than war zones in some places. So you see, the pastors and so on, that is their field of operation. Because you have to pray before you move. And then, comrade, we have to improve our national security. We know what is going on around us. And here we want to emphasize the role of the Ghana Police Service. In countries where they care about security, you have one police officer for maybe 200 people, or even less in some countries. Even in America of almost 360 million, there is one police officer to about 230 people also. In Ghana, there is one police officer for 1,500 of us. How can one police officer take care of 1,500? That's why you see all the indiscipline everywhere. That small number also, they spend so much of their time on our city roads, checking trivial things. Then we need to focus on respect for our rights, especially rights of children, rights of women, and of course, rights of workers. Many of our comrades are not even allowed to form a trade union in their workplace. Recently, we dealt with a case, and I think we need to pay attention to that. One important area that I want to draw your attention to, Comrade Mahama, is social protection. For the aged, for the sick, and for the handicapped. Eradication of child labor. And of course, eradication of poverty. This country is too rich to have so many poor people. And ultimately, under human development, we want a society where every individual lives a fulfilling life. Ghanaians deserve that, and they should get that. God has been kind to us. We have a beautiful country. We have all the resources that any country can get. And there is no reason why any Ghanaian should suffer poverty, especially the kind of poverty we see around us. You don't have to go very far from Accra. And right in the center of Accra, poverty stares at you like this. It is not right, and something must be done about it. This is what we are addressing under our social policy. And I said these are the highlights. So, comrades, I'll move to the second area. I told you we want to give a lot of time to our comrades to share with us. So I want to go through this very quickly. Second policy area we have paid a lot of attention to is economic policy. And when you finally get our manifesto, you see that we have devoted pages and pages on this. So under economic policy, I will discuss a number of subheadings. So please pay attention. The number one subheading that we want to deal with has to do with macroeconomic policy. The current macroeconomic policy was adopted in the late 80s as part of the structural adjustment program. And do you know the priorities of our macroeconomic policy? They say we should attain positive economic growth, we should have single-digit inflation, and we should have stable exchange rate, and of course, positive balance of payment. I'm not saying these are bad things, but I will say a few things about them. One thing I want you to note is that within the macroeconomic framework that we have been pursuing for the past 40 years or so, employment creation is missing. So you see manifestos, political party manifestos. Then the only thing you see is the cover. They have said that, oh, to create jobs. You can see sometimes you see the title and you see it's an afterthought. Why? Because our macroeconomic policy framework doesn't have employment creation as one of the key areas. You know the assumption, let us stabilize the economy, let's grow, let's have single-digit inflation, let's have positive balance of payment, and employment will follow. In the last 40 years, we know that is a lie. Employment will not follow that. We need to change the macroeconomic policy framework. It has to change. And a change that does not only lead to faster economic growth, but a change that creates jobs for people. Macroeconomic policy must focus on addressing the employment challenge through sectoral diversification, upgrading of human capacities, and improving public infrastructure to ensure equity in standards of living for all Ghanaians. At this stage of our economic development, policy must not be welded to any rigid set of principles as contained in the Washington Consensus. And the development is a complex phenomenon, and the task of overcoming it is equally complex, particularly in the current context of globalization. So, the first subheading under economic policy is macroeconomics. If we get macroeconomic policy framework right, many things will happen, and we need to pay attention to it. We are ready to engage on it. We believe that we have enough human resource within the TUC to engage anybody here in Ghana and elsewhere to change the macroeconomic framework for Ghana. The second one is inflation and interest rates. In 2002, the Bank of Ghana officially adopted what they call inflation targeting approach to central banking. This makes the fight against inflation the primary objective. The idea that raising interest rates in Ghana can actually curb inflation is a catastrophic mistake. Because this policy incorrectly matches the instruments they use and the targets. We must therefore fight inflation. by tackling the supply constraints and limiting the exposure of the economy to external shocks. Our main issue about inflation has to do with the constraints on the supply side. That is why during harvest season, inflation goes down. Once we have enough yams, we have enough maize and tomato and so on, you see inflation going down. It shows that our inflation is more about the supply side, not the demand side. And the Bank of Ghana got it wrong, and they have to be humble enough to change it. I will end on this inflation and move on to the third subheading. That is the role of Bank of Ghana in social and economic development. I think I have made mention of this, so I won't spend too much time on this. We think our central bank has to change the role it is playing in our country. And I'm sure my comrades from NDC will agree with me, because not too long ago there was a massive demonstration. It's a sign that things are going wrong in that place. Misplaced priorities and all that. We have to change it, and we will. You know, we think that we have a lot of brilliant people in the central bank. I can tell you. But you know, because they are all working to that wrong policy framework, they are working very, very hard for the wrong things. And we have to change it. Once we get it right, those same people there will change this country forever. You don't need to change the people. Oh, General Mosquito is here. You are welcome, brother. Please, you are welcome, brother. Currently, I'm presenting the key elements of our manifesto, and we'll be through in the next few minutes. I think I've said enough about Bank of Ghana. What we saw, the demonstration by honorable people, under normal circumstances, they are in coat, like he's in coat now. But they took their coats, they wear the red bands and T-shirts for a reason. And that reason is that let's change the way our central bank operates. It's as simple as that. You don't need to read too much about this. They went there and they did what they should, and I think the message is clear. Now, what it means is that if or when NDC comes to power, comrade, we will play your own tape. Oh, when? Okay. We will play that tape where you were talking in a very spirited manner. If you don't do what yeah. Comrade, the next one is under economic policy, is trade policy. Trade policy is killing this country. We have so many leeways within the World Trade Organization system, but we don't use it. For example, we can impose 90% tariffs. Is it 80? 80%, 90 on rice, poultry, and other things that we can produce in this country. But you know, this country, the so-called the lobby, they call the import lobby. They are very powerful. I don't think that anybody in this country is more powerful than the president of Ghana. And that if the president really wants to change it, he should be able to change it. You can't be more powerful than the president of the country. With all the powers, I'll talk about it briefly in the 1992 Constitution. For a president, how many presidents in the world have these powers that the president of this country has? Then you say, lobby, import lobby. They won't allow us to impose tariffs on things that we can produce in this country. When I was growing up, we had our rice, we had our nkoko, the poultry, everywhere. And then it came to a point that even the poultry they bring, it's so hard. you eat it and your teeth. But that is what we are importing. Now, what is this? We need to change our trade policy, comrades. This is something we will hold every government to do. This one is not, it will not only be in statements on May days and so on. We will follow the example our comrades did at the Bank of Ghana. So there's a lot to say about trade policy, but again, because I want us to have enough time with our comrade, I will not, we have a lot, you know, a lot. One of the things, I said we will not be prescriptive, but one of the things that we think should be done is to protect the infant industries in Ghana. 1966, and we are still calling them, 66 years, we are still calling them infant industries. They need to grow, but they need support of government. Every country supports their agriculture, their industry, and so on. If you don't, then they play against you. They support their industry, so they offer them cheap electricity, cheap power, and give them special interest rates. Then when they produce at that cheap cost and they come to your country, you can't beat them. So they'll come and beat you in your own country. And that's what they have done to our local industries, agriculture, and so on. So we need to protect them. And when we protect them enough, Kwame Nkrumah did that. And this country moved on. The best decade, 1960 to 1970. No, let me cut it at 1966. We have to change it and make sure our private sector is protected. Our researchers told me that 40 years ago, a ton of cocoa was able to buy 1 VW. Today, a ton of cocoa, you need 20 tons of cocoa to buy 1 VW. It tells you what we have done to ourselves and what the Germans have done to themselves. And they trade with us. We need to change this, comrades. One important Cambridge economist said this, and I want to quote it. His name is Nicholas Caldo. He said, first, the only way for a country to develop is to industrialize. Second, the only way to industrialize is to protect your domestic industry from unsustainable competition. And then the third one is even more interesting. Anyone who says otherwise is being dishonest. Let's take that advice alone, and this country will not be the same. I move to the next one, public debt. Oh, it's shameful that this country of enormous wealth, we cannot pay our debt. 2022 December, we met in this room as organized labor, and we had to resist a situation where government was going to impose debt on old people, pensioners, retirees, to pay our debt. We are happy that things changed, and we hope that this will never happen again. We need to work on the revenue side to generate enough income. We need to work on the expenditure side to make sure we streamline our expenditure. Again, we have provided some cues on how we can do this. And when the time comes for our engagement with political parties, starting from NDC, I'm sure we can share these ideas with you. But the public debt situation we have in Ghana is unsustainable, and we need to address it. The last time I went to Ho, I was addressing our regional council, and then I mentioned to them that Ghana currently, as of 2022, our debt stands at 750 billion. Honorable can help me if I'm wrong. 750 billion Ghana cedis. Not dollars, so if it's dollars, then we're in trouble. 750 billion Ghana cedis. So if you like, divide 750 billion by 32 million. Every person in this country owes more than 20,000 Ghana cedis. If you get some crazy president who comes to say every person should pay part of it. So if you have 5 children, you multiply that. I don't think when our comrade comes, he will do that. But we need to find a solution to our debt problem. Comrade, I told you the economics is a lot. The next one is investment policy. We have spent a lot of time on the economy things. I don't think that our investment policy is right. You know, some of our institutions, they go out there and then they tell potential investors, oh, come to Ghana. Minimum wage is 15 Ghana cedis. How can you go and advertise this thing outside? That you pay people who work 8 hours, less than 15 cedis, 14 cedis and 88 pesos, which is $1.25 $1.25 for 8 hours of work. And this is how you advertise your country outside, so that they can come in. Those people who follow that advice, they are not good investors. When they come here, they will mess us up. We have seen them. They don't respect traditional rights. They don't respect us. You go to some of these restaurants, the way our brothers and sisters there and children are being treated by these foreigners. We want foreign investments. But we think that all these tax rebates that they are giving to them, they rather have to switch that and give it to local investors and let us own our country. This is the only country we have. You see, so boy, if you go to the mining sector, the extractive sector, almost all the companies there are owned by foreigners. And when the gold and the diamond and the bauxite and the oil are down, Ghanaians own it. When it comes up, it's not for us. And then they allow them to expatriate, or how do they call it? They take 90% of all what repatriate, 90% of all their monies outside. When we don't even have money to support our city. Do you know how much money went out of this country in the last 10 years? Some people estimate it to be $50 billion. You think Ghana is poor? Ghana is a very rich country with poor people. Comrade, let me move to the next one. I'm almost through. I wanted to really finish at 11, so comrade can do that. Agriculture and industry. Of course, this one is obvious. I don't want to spend too much time. But we have spent some time looking at our agriculture and how it is linked to industrial development. Again, we will share with you when the time comes. We think it's time to change the small-scale farming and make our farmers productive. Farmers are suffering, they are poor, because first, we don't protect them. They overproduce. And then we want inflation to go down. Think about it. Anytime you are in Accra here, and you buy tomatoes or yam at very low prices, you are punishing the farmer who brought it to you. So don't be happy. Because if you go to the village, people really suffer. Communities. And so when they produce and we are unable to give them the right price for what they have produced, we are being wicked to our farmers. Many of them are very old. So we are advocating some protection for farmers, some guaranteed prices for them, and so on. Some efforts were made, but many of them were cosmetic. We heard about buffer stock, what and what and what. But we think something more should be done. On the economy, I'll end with an important area we need to focus on. And I see some of my comrades from the informal economy here with us. We have to formalize the informal economy, because the situation there is not good. We have nearly 90% of our people engaged in some form of activity there. They overwork, some work 15 hours a day. They don't even earn $2 a day. We need to change the situation there. We think that if we follow some of the, or all the issues we have raised here, the informal economy situation will improve, because agriculture, for example, is very, very informal. We think so. The perennial issues about access to credit, social security, and so on, these are things we can address together. Also, we need to protect them legally. The legal protection there is very, very weak. It's not only the social protection, but the legal protection in the informal economy is weak. Comrades, I'll move to section 3, labor market policy. I'm almost through, so I'll finish in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The first one is joblessness under labor market policy. Section 3, joblessness. You see, when you say unemployment, it's a technical word, it's a technical term. The way they define it in the International Labour Organization is not appropriate for our situation. We have to define joblessness ourselves and pursue policies. And I'm very, very happy, and I want to emphasize that when Comrade John Mahama comes to implement his idea of the 3-shift economy, this country will change forever. The main issue about labor market has to do with the demand side, the constraints there. And for the supply side, we have more human beings. We have plenty. And let's turn that from a challenge to opportunity. Because you are lucky to have all these young people around. I don't know what percentage of our population are under 35. It could be over 66% or something. That is a blessing. That is not a curse. Because if we really want to develop, they are going to be the ones to develop this country. Now, we here, old people, what can we do again? But the young ones, we have to pay attention. But in this country, young people don't receive the attention they need. It's like you have to struggle through life. Some really struggle. They walk on the desert to Europe. And in Europe, you don't have to be a university graduate. All these boys who finish JSS, when they go to Germany and other countries, they get jobs. So, who said that we cannot create jobs for them here? You don't need to be a university graduate to get a job. If you are a human being with a head on a neck, you should get a job. And that is what we use to measure. Go to America. How many of them have university degrees? But their unemployment rate is now about 4%, 4.5%. Here we don't even know. Why? Because we don't care. And we will make sure the next government cares. And we have a formula which was given to us by our comrades at the Bank of Ghana. We will do it. I'm still on the labor market. Again, we have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort and thinking on employment issues. I want to assure you, we have some expertise in that area. One other thing we have expertise is wages. And I've already mentioned Article 71 and the single spine in my introductory remarks, so I will not say anything again. We have read the ideas that Comrade Mahama has on this whole Article 71 issues. Then I have also discussed social protection and pensions. So I'll leave it at that. But there is something that this government started, and I think praise must be where praise is due. During the COVID, we worked under the social partnership to introduce what we call unemployment insurance. That unemployment insurance, for some reason, it didn't go. So, comrade, it's one area that when you come, we will work together to introduce, because people should not suffer when, for some reason, they lose their jobs. At least you should have your standard of living where it is, if you cannot even improve it until you get a job. So within 1 year or so, after you are unemployed, you must be supported. And the way we design it, and I'm very proud of this because, and I'm not ashamed to say, the Minister for Finance met us, and we were thinking about how to get out of this with special reference to workers. And this idea came from TUC, and he bought into it. He said, we are going to do it. Somehow, he couldn't. Only one aspect of this that they pursued until today. That has to do with training. Those in the hospitality industries have access to some training. Some even have 1 year access, and government pays for it. It's going on. And I think we can do more. Oh, that's all. Okay. Another issue under labor market is labor administration. And here we have analyzed the weakness of our labor administration institutions. The Labor Department, Fair Wages Commission, National Labor Commission, Factories Inspectorate. If they do their work well, our work is easier. But they are so weak that they can't do their work well. I think we need to empower them to do their job. So we have provided some information. I should say that some efforts are being made now by this government to make sure there are employment centers in all the regions. Again, with the support of the German government, they are building the employment centers across the country. And they are actually replacing the dilapidated Office for Labor Department here in Accra. And we thank the German government, here represented by Johan, very much. Comrades, there is this issue about the labor law review. We started it, and it's not going as expected. The last time we met the president, we raised this issue. The executive committee of TUC met the president, President Kufuor. We raised this issue about labor law. And then in the presence of the Minister for Labor, he said he will be very happy if the process could be completed before the end of 2024, so he can sign it. We will be very happy if that happens. If that doesn't happen, then Dramani Mahama will have to. Inshallah. Energy and power. This is the last but one. The last but one is energy and power. And that has to do with PURC and their act. There must be some review there, so that all these people who are carrying on doing so, when we have even got excess capacity of electricity, must be punished properly. If individuals are responsible, things happen. If institutions are responsible, they say if you don't want to do something, create a committee. But if you want something to do, give it to one person and ask him or her to work with whoever he thinks can make him or her achieve what you have given him. Let's practice that one. Institutions, they don't have any face. People do what they do because they want to cover their face. They want recognition and reputation. So we have to change that. We have also discussed a number of issues about, and one thing I will not finish before I will not sit until I say it has to do with the Tama Oil Refinery. We have said so much about this, so now I don't want to say much. ECG, Tama Oil Refinery, let's keep them public. This whole idea that If something doesn't work, privatize it. It's not right. If you go to countries like Norway, Sweden, and Scandinavian countries, the majority of them are in the public service. And it's working well because they pay attention. Many airlines around the world are public airlines. They work. Why is it that in our case, our airlines don't work? Now, UCG2, we can manage it. If you cannot manage one sector, how can you manage the whole economy? You can't. We can't build our roads. We have to bring people from somewhere. We have to do everything. A time is coming, maybe our macroeconomic, the central bank should be full of foreigners. I hear now there are some foreigners sitting there. Comrades, the last one, which was supposed to be the first, has to do with governance. And under governance, I will just summarize it like this. We need to change the constitution of this country. We need to change it. And here, even though Comrade Mahama is here, let me say it. The purpose of the change must be to take the power from the president and give it to the people of Ghana. This is how I end it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, SG. Can we give to him once again? His presentation has been very elaborate. Yes, and that is what we expect. We need to do the presentation, but before that, I want to formally welcome in our midst the chairman of the NDC, Comrade Johnson Asidun Ketia. Comrade, you are welcome. But Comrade, I want to ask something. You know, it was General Mosquito. So is it now Chairman Mosquito? Oh, it's Chairman General. All right. Okay. I think we'll move on to the next item by SJ. I think we do the presentation of the manifesto. Yes. So
let's do it. And then after that, Comrade will now tell us, give us his vision. This is the very first copy of this manifesto. And Chairman, I want you to hand over to
we hand over our manifesto, workers' manifesto. What we any party in power. Thank you very much. This is Workers' Manifesto. So, shall we now invite our former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to give his presentation? Shall we give him a big welcome?
Revolution has a long way to go, but has come to stay. Revolution has a long way to go, but has come to stay. Cadence may go, cadence may come, but the revolution has come to stay. Revolution has a long way to go, but has come to stay. People, action, action. Thank you very much. Comrade Chairman Alex Nyako, Comrade Secretary General Dr. Yaoba, executives and officials of the Ghana Trade Union Congress, our national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, General Secretary of NDC, my brothers and sisters from both the TUC and NDC, I want to thank you for this warm welcome into the Hall of Congress of the TUC, and to thank you for the warm welcome we have received and the solidarity that I have seen expressed here today. Let me thank you for the first copy of the Workers' Manifesto, and I can assure you that we will study it very carefully and incorporate the relevant provisions into the People's Manifesto. From the Workers' Manifesto into the People's Manifesto. Today we've gathered here as a family to cement the relationship between the TUC and the NDC in our shared desire to build the Ghana we want together. As Social Democrats, we believe in social justice and equity, and we share a common objective with organized labor represented by the Trade Union Congress. We both prioritize the welfare and well-being of the working class and ordinary people. This shared goal requires us to cooperate and collaborate to ensure the total achievement of our objectives. And as I've always said, the NDC and the TUC are allies. The history of global development shows that trade unions have been instrumental in shaping economies to promote universal human well-being. The progress made in the Western world and other advanced economies is a testament to the tenacity and resilience of workers' unions. I believe that today's interaction will mark the beginning of even deeper relations to safeguard our common interests and ensure a better future for the working people of our country. Just as no economy can survive without prioritizing the well-being of its workers, we as Social Democrats recognize the need to design policies that accommodate the growth of industry and business and at the same time protect the interests of workers and their unions. The NDC, which I lead, recognizes that it does not have a monopoly on ideas and that it takes a cross-fertilization of ideas to achieve and sustain the economic progress of our country. And we acknowledge the pool of ideas and expertise at the disposal of the TUC and recognize that you have clear perspectives of the challenges confronting our country in this era, as evidenced in your Workers' Manifesto. As allies whose anchor ideology is social democracy, the NDC has no hesitation in inviting the TUC to actively participate in our strategy formulation processes so that the concerns of the working class and vulnerable can be adequately reflected in policy whenever we take over the reins of government. Comrades and friends, no political party in Ghana is better aligned to pursue policies favorable to the working class than the National Democratic Congress. We firmly and openly ascribe to the tenets of social democracy, believing that the state and the markets can work together to ensure economic expansion and equitable sharing of the fruits of economic growth. We understand that our collective well-being as citizens resides in sustained economic growth through high productivity in sectors where we have a comparative advantage. We therefore welcome any opportunity to engage organized labor in the pursuit of these objectives continuously. Therefore, I wish to thank Brother Secretary General and your team for the opportunity to dialogue with you today, and Frederick Ebert Foundation for the platform it has created for the two of us to engage. Comrade Secretary General, our beloved country has been hit very hard by harsh economic conditions over the last couple of years. Under this current administration, Ghana has witnessed severe adverse effects due to what we in the NDC and many Ghanaians consider a self-inflicted economic crisis. The high inflation rate, high cost of living, destruction of jobs, debt crisis, and negative impact on investors are some of the effects of this administration's failed policies. The economic crisis has significantly impacted workers and citizens generally. Unemployment rates, particularly amongst the young people, have risen to their highest in recent memory, making it difficult for many to find stable and decent paying jobs. Inflation and exchange rate volatility have eroded workers' purchasing power and have pushed many beyond the poverty line, below the poverty line. The healthcare and education sectors have also been negatively affected with inadequate funding and deteriorating quality of services. Our economy is plagued by high public debt levels, which hinder investments in social and economic development projects. And I give you, for example, in 2016, if you shared the public debt of 120 billion among 30 million Ghanaians, each Ghanaian owed 4,000 Ghana cedis. Today, if you divide the debt of 577 billion by 30 million Ghanaians, all of us sitting here owe 19,000 cedis. This, coupled with a relatively high unemployment rate, particularly amongst the youth, exacerbates the challenges faced by our citizens. Inflation and exchange rate volatility further erode workers' purchasing power, as I said. For the first time in over 50 years, we have defaulted in payment of our debts, and we've been downgraded by credit rating agencies to the lowest level ever experienced, junk. In other words, baller status. The escalating cost of living driven by hyperinflation, a collapsing currency, and rising prices of essential items, including food, has made life unbearable for millions of Ghanaian households who are currently practicing the 001 or 010 or 100 formula. For those of you who know it, you know it. Due to the government's debt restructuring program, the working and middle classes face the greatest threat to their livelihoods. The debt exchange has expropriated the interest payments on bonds held by the working and middle classes, affecting many households, including poor pensioners. The poor who are dependent on the working and middle class also now face an uncertain future. According to the World Bank, inflation has pushed as many as 850,000 Ghanaians into poverty in the past 1 year alone. Unemployment amongst young people in Ghana has skyrocketed and is estimated today to stand at 13%. The consequences of this economic catastrophe have affected every sector of our national life, particularly education, health, and infrastructure. Unfortunately, the government has no grasp of the magnitude of the economic suffering that Ghanaians are going through and is unwilling to make the necessary adjustments to resolve it. They also appear unprepared to improve the general governance of the country and end corruption, nepotism, politicization, and the weakening of state institutions. They are oblivious to our country's failing state of education and health care and remain fixated on poorly implemented programs that have thrown the sectors into crisis. We also have a president who has run out of ideas on how to solve the economic challenges we find ourselves in, And by his recent declaration, his focus and last energies are going to be expended on installing his anointed successor as the next president. Comrades, we could have avoided this unpleasant situation. The signs of this crisis were there for all to see. A conflicted finance minister whose only interest was to borrow endlessly and mar our economy in the quagmire of debt was obvious from as far back as 2019. We could see it coming. A president whose budget was creatively crafted to hide huge liabilities in order to present a favorable economic outturn to the world so that he could borrow more from the international capital market was evident for all to see. Appointment of family and friends into various positions in government, brazen interference to obstruct the fight against corruption, reckless abuse of the public purse, arrogance, and luxury in the conduct of public officers have all been characteristic of this administration since its inception in 2017. It didn't start today. But comrades, it is regrettable for me to note that at such a crucial time in our nation's life, society's moral voice refused to speak up against these unfortunate developments in our democratic governance. NDC was left alone as the solitary voice seeking to hold the government accountable and speaking up for the voiceless Ghanaians. And we were often cast out as spoiled brats who were ranting just because we had lost power. Today, the chickens have come home to roost. And we are all affected. As he said, country broke, country no broke, we all dey inside. There must be an end to this decline and a restoration of stability to the economy so that Ghana's citizens and working people can breathe a sigh of relief and not have their already inadequate incomes eroded further by inflationary pressures. In the last few years, I have been outlining policies that a future NDC government will implement. And the aim is to stop the steep decline in the economy, turn it around, and stabilize it. I've also shared my position on governance and institutional reforms to ensure our country is reset and built into the Ghana we all want. It is important to note that we in the NDC will not be couching propagandist slogans and passing them off as policy. We have much to learn as a country from the disaster that has unfolded before our very eyes when sections of our population became so enamored with empty slogans and acronyms. We will focus on substantial government issues to get the job done in a no-thrills, no-frills manner. We will cut out the rigmarole and deliver realistic policies to impact our economy and our country positively. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends, the NDC proposes a series of transition measures to address the economic decline and set Ghana on the path to recovery. These measures include reducing the public debt by placing a moratorium on non-concessional borrowing, actively seeking concessional financing and grants, and reviewing legislation to limit the non-core activities of some state-owned enterprises. Why must we reduce our debt obligations? Because we need to do so to create adequate fiscal space to stabilize the economy and provide social services. So to achieve this, the NDC will implement, amongst others, the following measures. 1, as I said, place an immediate moratorium on all non-concessional borrowing. 2, pursue our bilateral partners and multilateral partners for more concessional financing and grants. 3, implement infrastructural projects that are self-financing and not a burden on the public debt. 4, limit the central bank's financing of government, as we did in 2016, 0 central bank financing of government. And also reform the Bank of Ghana. 5, tighten legislation to put a cap on debt accumulation and prevent any future reckless finance minister from borrowing, as has been witnessed under this administration. So you put a cap so that some rogue finance minister won't come in future and run up the debt again. And so if we say the debt must be 60% of GDP, every year you must calculate and make sure that you are under 60% of GDP. If the finance minister exceeds it, he will be sanctioned. Sanctioned? Sacked? I meant sacked. Re-establish the sinking fund to smoothen out our debt repayment obligations. When we're in government, we set up a sinking fund to which we committed some of our oil revenues and other revenues so that any debts that were due, we had money to pay. Unfortunately, when this government came, they depleted the sinking fund and left it empty with no buffers to cover themselves. We will stop the collateralization of statutory funds like the GET Fund and the District Assembly's Common Fund. We will review some legislations to limit the financial implications of non-core activities of some state-owned enterprises like the Ghana Cocoa Board and the GMPC. Additionally, we aim to reduce the size and cost of government, tackle corruption, and enforce stricter financial management regulations and guidelines. To this effect, we will reduce the number of ministers and appointees. We will merge ministerial portfolios to prune down the number of ministries drastically. For instance, I don't see why we have aviation ministry, railways ministry, transport ministry, and all the other ministries. Sanitation ministry, local government ministry, business development ministry. We will reduce waste and cost overruns, institutional borrowing, and breaches in public procurement rules. We will ensure compliance with internal and external financial control systems. We will review, and I'm sure, let Secretary General sit down. We will review and eliminate ex gratia in its current form. That's why I wanted you to sit down. Comrades and friends, we will recalibrate and amalgamate duplicated state agencies. In some cases, there are state agencies doing the same thing. We will put them together. We will discontinue the payment of utility bills, fuel, DSTV, etc., as part of top government employee service conditions. The recent misuse of public funds by government officials demands more creative and stricter measures to prevent further financial losses. Therefore, we will introduce stricter financial management regulations and guidelines to prevent the over 17 billion Ghana cedis that is lost in annual financial irregularities. We will also safeguard the principle of value for money in public procurement by establishing an independent value for money office that will vet any project above a specified ceiling approved by Parliament. We will continue with the implementation of the process of constitutional review in order to strengthen the 1992 Constitution and bring it up to speed with current trends and development. As you all know, this was begun by Professor John Evans Atta Mills. In 2015, somebody took us to court, and the case was not adjudicated till we were almost in the election year. And so we couldn't continue with it, and we left it to the next administration, and it has stalled. Stabilizing the cedi is another crucial measure to redirect billions of dollars spent on imports towards domestic production. We are not going to claim that we've arrested it and giving the key to the IGP, but we're going to work to stabilize the cedi by eliminating a lot of the wasteful imports that we have a comparative advantage to produce. We'll incentivize the indigenous private sector to capture the commanding heights of the economy in every sector to reduce financial outflows occasioned by huge profit repatriations by international companies. We will pass local content laws to give Ghanaian registered businesses an advantage, especially in the extractive sector. By incentivizing local production of goods and promoting value addition, we can stabilize the cedi, create sustainable jobs, and achieve food self-sufficiency. The businesses will be incentivized to produce goods such as rice, sugar, tomato, frozen fish, poultry, meat products, vegetable cooking oils, and local pharmaceuticals. We will place restrictions on unbridled importation of some highly consumed goods through the use of tariffs and non-tariff measures. This policy will also support large-scale commercial agricultural production to enable us to achieve food self-sufficiency. A strong cooperative system, and this is where we failed over the years. We have not taken advantage of cooperatives because it's easier to reach the farmers and other people through cooperatives when they are working together than to reach them as individual farmers. And so a strong cooperative system in the agricultural sector based on farmer service centers is going to be the vehicle that will drive our agricultural credits and input supply system. Ghana has 16 regions. Each of the 16 regions of this country is going to be supported with investments in products for which they have a comparative advantage. Processing plants will be provided in the regions for processing of crops such as palm oil, groundnuts, cotton, coffee, cocoa, soya, cassava, cereals, ginger and spices, cut flowers, fruits, and other horticultural products. Cashew is there. Cashew is there. It was number 2. The man is from Bronga Alpha, so. For his benefit, let me go over it again. Palm, cashew, groundnuts, cotton, coffee, cocoa, soya, cassava, cereals, ginger, spices, cut flowers, fruits, and other horticultural products. Somebody shouted Shenat, you're right. We will involve the private sector in our national food buffer stock arrangements to improve efficiency and cut out waste. We will rehabilitate and preserve our remaining forest reserves through revenues received from carbon offsets. Hundreds of thousands of jobs will be created this way in the forestry sector. We also intend to strengthen accountability in our gold export industry and promote an integrated bauxite and alumina industry to increase returns from the extractive sector. It is widely known and acknowledged that the figures we capture as our gold exports are far lower than the quantity of the metal that leaves our shores. Implementing better accountability in this gold mining sector and gold export sector can yield billions of dollars for this country. We will prioritize value addition by increasing domestic processing and refining of our gold before export. And will continue to pursue the dream of establishing an integrated bauxite and alumina industry. Brother Secretary General, I make you a firm pledge that we'll work together and lead a team to revamp and reignite some strategic industries. You mentioned some of them. Tor is one, Bost is another, Valco is another. Industries like that, we would work to revitalize them. And I agree with you when you say that it's not only the private sector that can run industry. The government and public states too can run industry. And we proved it in our time. When we were in office, Tor was working. Boss was working and making profits. The state enterprises were working. We said that we revived the Kumasi shoe factory. And so these are things that can work, and we'll continue to look at them. In this green transition period, we will partner with our multinational partners such as Talo, ENI, ACA, and others who are active in our upstream oil industry to speed up and bring into operation more oil and gas fields that have needlessly been delayed under this government. This will generate extra revenue to enable us to stabilize the economy. We will explore a partnership under PPP arrangements between the ECG and some serious private sector organizations in the downstream distribution sector. The private sector participation would assist ECG in distribution of prepaid meters and collection of bills. We will rationalize the power sector and develop strategies to bring down the cost of power. We will also accelerate the integration of solar energy into our transmission grid. Once we halt the decline, and then here we intend to remove taxes on solar equipment to make them cheaper for Ghanaians to procure. Once we halt the decline of the economy, we will begin to witness the full impact of our policies towards achieving our goal of building the Ghana we want together. We will update the 40-year development plan and continue with its implementation. The NDC's vision for building the Ghana we want is centered around the 5 pillars of the 40-year development framework, which we formulated before we left office in 2016. And that is 1, build an industrialized, inclusive, and resilient economy. 2, creating an equitable, healthy, and prosperous nation. 3, developing well-planned, safe communities while protecting the natural environment. 4, building effective, efficient, and dynamic institutions for national development. And 5, strengthening Ghana's role in Africa and international affairs. Our policies will align with these pillars, and we welcome input and collaboration from the TUC and our other allies. In addition to the above, I would like to highlight some significant sectorial and sub-sectorial policies that we intend to implement to further our agenda for building the Ghana we want. Our commitment to the public sector will involve improving its role as a service provider and provider of jobs. Therefore, we will review and reposition all public sector organizations, promote innovation, improve services and management. Additionally, we will implement new strategies to establish key performance indicators, making state agencies efficient, effective, and productive. Appointments to state-owned enterprises will be merit-driven and not based on whether you are the friend or family of the president. And more importantly, we'll protect workers' rights to join a union. unionist. I am a unionist.
Working women. Working women. Working women.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that musical interlude. Let me hit that point again. And more importantly, we will protect workers' rights to join a union. Choboy, thank you. And protect their collective bargaining rights, work safely, and free from harassment.
And working for God's love and peace, that we may build our nation strong, to work and cause of workers' rights.
Choboy, thank you. Our commitment to social democratic principles means that we will work to make workers receive fair wages and benefits, be treated with dignity at work, and have fair and equal opportunities for training and promotion. We'll also provide other forms of support as provided for under pieces of legislation related to work safety and workmen's compensation. We will negotiate wages fairly and transparently and consider inflation and other cost of living indices. Our focus when it comes to creating decent jobs will be the promotion of public and private partnerships in the construction and manufacturing sectors, agriculture, forestry, and fishery industries. We will establish national employment centers in order to create an avenue for youth employment. And we will incentivize businesses that pick or recruit from the National Employment Center database. They will get tax breaks for employing people from the databases. During COVID, we recommended that at times where workers lose their jobs and are unemployed, it should be possible for there to be a scheme where part of their social security savings is paid to them as allowances until they can find another job. And we suggested it, but it fell on deaf ears. Don't sing again, I beg you. We intend to implement a 24-hour economy. And by this, we will provide incentives in terms of reduction in corporate taxes and other exemptions to businesses that will sign up to the 24-hour economy initiative. And if we remember, in the past, but then we must also look at the security side and make sure that we provide them with security. Because if you remember, in the past, filling stations used to work 24 hours. Unfortunately, armed robbers started attacking them, and because of that, they all closed at about 10 o'clock. And so if we're able to provide them with adequate security, businesses and services like that, there's no reason why they can't operate 24 hours. And we'll give them the tax incentives to be able to do so. We'll identify and promote strategic growth areas such as IT with a targeted $3 billion investment and drive an aggressive infrastructure development under our Big Push program. We will shift attention from the macro economy to the micro and focus on growth in the real sector instead of just on macroeconomic stability. Additionally, we'll support the TUC and organized labor to expand its current investments and establish new joint businesses and ventures with third parties to also provide employment to our people. And you can see organizations like Quality Insurance, which are established by labor. This thing. I'm sure there are more places where labor can invest its resources. As part, it should not only exist for people to establish industries and go and unionize. You should also establish industries and have unions formed against you, the employer yourself. Yeah. As part of our industrial policy, we will develop policies that promote Ghanaian ownership and control of major sectors and encourage a Buy Ghana agenda. The NDC government, in partnership with organized labor, the metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies and the private sector, will implement a social housing scheme that will enable working people to own houses in any district of their choice in their lifetime. We will remove the cap that diverts monies generated by the National Health Insurance Levy into the Consolidated Fund, so that the NHIS can receive its full amount of money so that it can pay its service providers and deliver better quality service. Within the first 100 days of coming into office, we'll convene a stakeholder summit that brings together educationists, experts, teachers, parents, students, and opinion leaders to deliberate on how to improve the implementation of the free SHS system and also improve the quality of our basic education, because that's where it all begins. We will return Ghana to the regional exams conducted by the West African Examinations Council, so that it will be possible to compare the performance of our children with our English-speaking neighbors in the sub-region. Right now, we write a local Ghana exam. We mark it ourselves. We mark our own script, and we give ourselves high marks, and we tickle ourselves, and we are laughing that things are improving. If you don't have any benchmark to compare, how can you tell you are improving? We'll promote sports, tourism, and the creative arts as avenues of job creation. We'll incentivize the service sector to promote its fast growth and its contribution to GDP. We will roll out 5G, that's the fifth generation, and create a strong digital infrastructure to optimize new technologies, including artificial intelligence. We will invest in technical skills training, and we started this by the establishment of the technical universities so that students could go and opt to do the HND or do a degree program in the technical universities. We need to equip our young people with skills for the world of work. We were talking about young people who cross the desert and go to Europe to work. Those who have skills as masons, carpenters and things, find work very quickly. It's not as easy as those who don't have skills. They have to struggle a while before they can find jobs. But if you're a welder, you're a carpenter, you're a mason, those people get jobs very quickly. Plumbers and others, electricians, they get jobs very quickly. Collaboration between NDC and the TUC is essential for achieving better economic growth, improved working conditions, and overall well-being of Ghanaians. Oh no, I think I've left this out. Improve access to water and sanitation. That one is obvious. These ones I'll just read quickly. Invest in the transport sector, roads, highways, aviation, maritime, railway. Provide equipment to our security services, police, army, prisons, fire, immigration. Especially provide the police with bulletproof vests and armored vehicles in order to help them in the fight against violent crime. We give them ordinary vehicles, they go to confront armed robbers, and they shoot and kill them. As a social democratic party, we believe in balancing economic prosperity with the well-being of workers and promoting equality. We will engage in an annual governance dialogue with organized labor groups CSOs, and other recognized groups. Once a year, we'll have a governance summit. We'll sit together and see if we're making progress in our governance. You'll all be there to mark us and see whether we're doing well or we're not doing well. And as I announced already, we'll set up a governance advisory committee which will release every year the state of governance reports in Ghana. And we'll use that as a basis to make corrections if we are going off the path. And finally, we aim to expand economic freedom primarily through thriving small enterprises, development initiatives at the district assembly levels, and cooperative schemes. Cooperative is going to be a central plank in our policy for assisting small businesses, as well as through our natural resource sectors and manufacturing. This approach will promote economic growth and avoid concentrating power control and capital in the hands of a few large corporations. Comrade Secretary General, Comrade Chairman, and officials of the TUC of Ghana, I want to thank you so much and your team for your patience in welcoming and listening to us. We don't intend this to be a one-time engagement. We understand that through the ambit of the Building Ghana tour, this will be an ongoing process, which you recall we started before our 2020 manifesto, to fully build the trust and confidence of our social democratic family to achieve our shared aspirations for Ghana, its workers, and its people. Comrades, let's work together, let's win together, let's progress together in building the prosperous Ghana that we all want. I thank you very much.
I think we need to do it better. Let's do it better. Let's do it better. Thank you. We can sit down, please. Excellency, thank you very much for your well-delivered speech. We are hoping that if all things go equal and go on well, Ghana will experience all this that has been said here right now. So we move on with the program, and at this stage we have the discussions and the way forward, but I want to give the Secretary General the opportunity to tell us as to the way forward, because time is also fast spent. Thank you very much.
Okay, Chairman, thank you very much. Comrades, I think we will end here. What we are going to do is this. We are taking a copy of the speech. I think this is also a manifesto. But he didn't say that. At least it gives us a taste of what is to come. I told you great things are about to happen. You know, the speech our comrade read and our manifesto, are they different? I don't know. You see, when they say you are social democrat, it means you think alike. So the vision we have for Ghana is the same vision that has brought our friends from Fred Gebert Foundation here for more than 50 years. They have been with us. You know, all the up and downs. And so this tripartite family must continue to work, comrades. So what we will do is this. If you have any issue that you think should be addressed in the manifesto of NDC, please send it to us. Send it to us. We have Social and Economic Affairs Committee and Political Affairs Committee. They are going to work closely with the lab of NDC. And we will want to make sure many of the issues we have discussed here today are going to be part of the plan and the vision for future. So we will publish where you can send your advice or your suggestion or view on our website. And if you go to GhanaTUC.org, you'll see that link. Where is Fred? Please, let's make sure by tomorrow it's there. So when people go, they can just push it there. And we will send it through our Social and Economic Affairs Committee to the NDC committee, the lab, which is preparing the manifesto. So, comrades, that is the way forward. What we want is to have our manifesto deeply entrenched in how this country is governed. On this note, I would like to read the conclusion of our manifesto. In 2000, Ghana's economy was said to be at crossroads. In 2000. That was the time our economy was facing some turbulence. The value of the cedis was falling like stone thrown from heaven. Inflation and cost of living were rising and Ghanaians were suffering. This was 2000. And we understood the crossroads to mean that where Ghana was at the time, any miscalculated move could send the country in the wrong direction. No wonder President Kufuor at the time declared Ghana a heavily indebted poor country. When he was elected president of this rich country was declared highly indebted poor country. Today, Ghana is not at crossroads. Rather, the country is actually standing at the edge of a cliff. Therefore, any move in the wrong direction could send the country down the cliff, and we may not survive the fall. Obviously, something went wrong in our economic management. That is why we are where we are today. We have to change direction and move away from the cliff by any means possible. We need the hands of every Ghanaian on deck to push Ghana away from the cliff. We have no choice. Every Ghanaian must get involved to save Ghana from economic collapse. And as we said earlier in this manifesto and the speech that our comrade has just read, it means it is the right thing to do, to work together and make sure together we can build a Ghanaian society where every citizen can enjoy a decent and fulfilling life and be proud of this country. We thank you very much for all your patience for listening. We will end here. Where is the MC? You didn't hear what? Dramani Mosquito, you see, there is protocol in all these meetings. Because he came late, he said protocol doesn't allow him to talk. So it's okay. This will not be the first and last. We can assure you we will have all opportunities. We actually gave him the opportunity, but he insisted that protocol doesn't allow that. So we will take it at that. Thank you very much, comrades. Thank you.
Are we taking the picture here or downstairs? Yeah. So members of the high table and then the lab. Right. Okay. Right. Choboy. 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 Right. So. No questions.
No. We'll come back.
Please sit down. Please sit
down. Choboy, comrades, can we make some progress, please? I'd also like to, in fact, I mentioned them earlier, but you're warmly welcome, General Mosquito. We're happy to have you here. I did mention earlier the NDC lab, and the SG has been referring to the lab on a continuous basis. I just want to salute you again, Prof. Dan Soboafo, who is the chairman of the lab, and Prof. Nana Opoku Ajiman. Other members of the lab I'd like to mention quickly before we move on, not in any particular order, but Honorable Sylvester Mensah, Ambassador Sampi Yale, Honorable Nana Oye Bampo, Honorable Joyce Bauer, Mr. Stan Dogbe, Colonel Larry Bevlo-Latte, Ambassador Margaret Clark Kwesi, and Honorable Peter Otokuno. We're happy to be working with you, and we're grateful for your time and the work together. And also to the Political Affairs Committee and then the Social Affairs Committee and Public Affairs Committee. No, Social and Economic Affairs Committee of the TUC. Well, at this juncture, we would, there's an announcement. We're going to allow members of the high table to take a group picture with those that need to be in the group picture. And then we will have lunch and then our departure. I don't see any closing prayer, but I'm going to offer a closing prayer anyway. So we're going to remain seated to take our lunch, and then I suppose we can
outside. But snack, you have to imagine right. You can go, but they pick their lunch from outside.
Right. So we will get ourselves ready to take the picture, but I'm going to offer the closing prayer, and our guests, we will serve you with your lunch outside. Choboy! May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please? There are grievances, but those grievances obviously will be addressed. Can we have one meeting and make some progress? So we're going to take a group picture, but before we do, please allow your tempers to come down so that we can say our closing prayer, then we would move on. So can we make some progress, please? Can we make some progress?